Do you guys ever get like a quote in your head? Like you hear a quote and you don't really know how you feel about it, but it sticks in your head almost because you don't know how you feel about it. Like you're spending time in your subconscious almost trying to weigh out the quote. You know, maybe for the next couple months after you see it, you'll put something up against it. Like every time you see something that could relate, you put it up against the quote to try and see if you agree with it or not. Could definitely just be a me thing, but I'm gonna guess that other people do this too. And this is something that I've had with a certain quote by Virgil Abloh for a long time, a long time. I want to say since like 2023, right? For context, Virgil Abloh is actually the reason I started this YouTube channel, Max Dice. I was watching a video on him, and like it just kind of came to me of like I should share my art on the internet again. You know, I was like, it's been a long time. I've always wanted to, you know, I'd always wanted to come back in some capacity and do it because I remembered how much I loved doing it when I was much younger, and I was like, I should do it again, right? But in that same video, there was this one specific quote that's always sort of stuck with me, right? It was basically Virgil in some sort of speech, I don't know if it was a commencement speech or what, but him going like, everything I do is for the 17-year-old version of me, right? And it went along with this idea that is really common of like kind of create for your younger self, right? Or to broaden it here, because I kind of like to try and talk about things not just in context of art on this channel, but life in general. I guess it would kind of translate to like live a life for your younger self. And I think that's really interesting. And I remember a time when I started thinking about the quote like extra hard, when it really came back to the front of my mind is, well, two scenarios recently. One was David Lynch, right? I was after David Lynch passed, January, like early January, I want to say it was like 19th maybe. It was right before his birthday. I remember like I was getting into a lot of his stuff, you know, kind of like just because he was everywhere, and I was seeing a bunch of clips of him, and he was talking about just how much he creates out of like kind of like a childlike wonder, you know? And for years I'd taken an approach to my art and my life of like almost a kind of an unnecessary level of seriousness. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, like I want to be fun. I want to have this free spirit that I know I have, that I know is sitting there within me. But I also think it's important to almost, and this is a bit of an oxymoron, but it's the way it was where my head was at for a long time, almost sort of calculate that free spirit. You know what I mean? Almost take that childlike wonder that I know I have and direct it towards things. And like almost use it less as a guiding light and more as a weapon. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way I was looking at things for years. And I obviously, like, you know when you like notice something's wrong so you don't really want to think about it? It was one of those things for me, because I always knew that the way I was looking at my own wonder, my own life was like a little bit inherently contradictory, right? And you know, maybe in a year I'll come back and I'll be like, no, that was actually the right direction that I had there. But for now, what I'm thinking is that, you know, I need to be a little bit more in tune with that version of myself. You know what I mean? Maybe the journey of creating or the journey of living is less so a goal-oriented thing and more so just a journey back to the start, of back to that childlike version of yourself. And it was actually a comment from one of you was the second thing that made me think about this. I believe it was from somebody named Jess who commented. I'm gonna respond to the comment again when, like, after I record this, just so I can make sure. I'll correct it in the description if it's wrong. But you know, it was on that episode of like how society kind of pulls you in all these directions. And she said something in the comments of like, basically, you know, like, I think my younger version of me would be really proud of myself right now. And I was like, that's interesting, you know, because I always thought of this childlike wonder in terms of art, right? But I was like, maybe it's just a life thing, you know? Like, maybe it's more so, less about art and more so just about living a life that would be awesome to young you. Maybe that's the most fulfilling thing of all. And the reason I never really thought about childlike wonder in the context of a life, and I only ever really applied to art, I think personally could be because I really, and this isn't just me trying to like dismiss things, but I really do think I have like a really good sense of childlike wonder in my life. Like I still, do all the things I loved as a kid. I never really stopped doing any of them. Not even like, or like, honestly, this is the weirdest thing in the world, but like, it's all the things that I liked doing as a kid, like, reading comics, action figures, like the childish hobbies that I had. I only ever fell out of them completely in like middle school, because I was like, no, this is dumb. Like I need to grow up, And then as I got, and obviously like high school too, because you get judged so much. But as I got older, I was like, that's so stupid. Like I just why am I, giving something up because I think that there's some arbitrary force making me grow up, right? You can still be grown and enjoy all the things you once enjoyed. So I think maybe me retaining a lot of that in not so much like a spiritual sense as like which is what this discussion's more about, but like in a very literal sense of just like I never really gave up on a lot of those things. Maybe that's why I never took it too seriously. But I think that like, looking at a lot of the discussions we've had here on Paint Talk, and looking at like the way I'm going about a lot of things now as I've come into 2025, forgot what year it was for a second there, and like kind of re-evaluated a lot of the things I've been doing, which is honestly, this is something I've been thinking about too, and I'm gonna do a little bit of meta talk here, so I apologize. I hate when I come on Paint and Talk to talk about Paint and Talk, but I'm gonna do it a tiny bit. Huge car just went by. Oh, I need to preface. Oh my God, I forgot to do this at the beginning. The window is open right now. It's like 45, 46 today in New York. Hottest it's been in a while. So it was making it way too hot in here. Like I was dying in yesterday's recording. I don't know if you guys could tell. I was like up against, I was at my wit's end with that heat. And I felt like maybe this is just me as the guy doing the recording, but I felt like when I was watching back, I was like, no, this is noticeable. Like this is making the video worse. So I was like, let me just bite the bullet and open the window today. It might be a lot. It might be really noisy. So I'm really sorry if it's not. Like there's a lot of cars and stuff and like wind noises, what I'm talking about? Just like that like ambiance of the wind outside. But I think the mic shouldn't pick it up. I'm sorry if it does though. I need to preface that. Anyways, back to my meta talk about Paint and Talk. I've been thinking a lot because I feel like the second I came into 2025, right? And I started like doing these Paint and Talks every day. Everything just got reevaluated in my life so fast. Like all these directions I'd been taking for the last year have kind of come to a very different conclusion. And like I've been redoing a lot of the ways I do things in my life and just like, within my art, out of my art, and the way I interact with people and the way I want to evaluate my future goals, all these things. And I can't help but wonder, the brushes just fell. There went the last one. It's not on my, wait. It's on my pants too. One second guys, I can't, usually I want to keep it going. I need some of the brushes though to finish this recording. 1 second. Okay, we're back. Quite the hectic recording today. The universe really doesn't want me to do this meta talk here about Paint and Talk. I hope this is still somewhat watchable. I'm sorry if not. If this is too much, I'll see you tomorrow. But I wonder if all these different things in my life kind of coming to a head right now and making so much more sense to me than they ever have. I can't help but wonder, was it just the time for this to happen? Or is it because I'm doing these Paint and Talks and sitting here, every day, talking about things, thinking about things, like I just write things down as they come to me throughout my day. And I think it's kind of forcing me to take whatever time it ends up being in a day. Sometimes these are 10 minutes, sometimes these are 30 minutes, sometimes I record 2 and it's an hour or 20 minutes, It just forces me to take that little bit of time to just like sit with voicing my own thoughts out loud. And I'm sure, oh my God, there's paint on my arm too. Oh my God, and I'm like, how does this happen? How did all this paint get everywhere? This is crazy. Like having to hear my thoughts out loud so much and having to come here and do this every day, I feel like that may sound like I don't enjoy it, but I love it. But like, I wonder if that's made so many of these things come to a head. And it's really made me think like, should I be less calculated? You know, should I, when I'm making something, allow myself to tap into some of that, like, this is a dumb thing that I would have loved as a kid? You know, maybe that is the answer to almost everything, and I just haven't really been looking at it right. But then again, you know, I think it's also a conversation of just like, this is an analogy I use a good amount, and maybe in some paint talks I've used it, where I say like everyone's a different type of artist, right? And I mean, when I say that, I want to expand that to like everyone's a different type of artist, and like everyone lives a different life, you know, like all different strokes for different folks, however you want to put it. We're all different, and because of that, it leads to a lot of different things working for different people. This is like, I don't know why I'm saying this as if this isn't the most obvious thing on earth. Like, everyone knows this already, of course. But, you know, and I've always just been like, okay, like, some artists are really great at, like, being super go with the flow, just, like, living a life on the fly, and, like, they can be free, you know? And I was like, I'm not like that, but I can still make good stuff anyways. And to an extent, I think that old line of thinking is true. I don't think that I necessarily need to be, you know, this super free-flowing person. I don't need to try and be something I'm not, but I think I can almost, this is a weird analogy, but let some of that more frivolous childlike side of me out of its cage that it's in. You know what I mean? Like, the sides that I know were there, but always just like make them take a back seat because I don't want to let them out, because I think it's too, you know, I feel like it's too immature, or too, you know, all the words that they throw at you when you're like 14 about how you need to start acting a certain way. You know, all those words that make you act different from how you want to act. Maybe I need to stop using those words and start just doing what I want to do and combine it with my own faith in myself. You know what I mean? Of like, I know I'm this, I know I'm X, Y, and Z. I know I can do this. Why should I act like I need to be the conception of what this is then? You know? I don't know, maybe I'm getting too much into my own personal talk here, and I don't like to do that too much, because I want to make sure these are fun and good for everyone to watch. But yeah, that's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately, is like, how does that work? And the other Paint Talk that, once again, I believe her name is Jess, or their name, I don't know, you know, their gender, of course, but, the other one that you commented on, where I was talking about basically like how the whole world is tearing you apart, and like, it's going to make you into someone you don't want to be, or like, you really need to guard that vision of yourself that you have in your head. Like, maybe that vision of yourself that you have in your head is just that vision of yourself you had when you were a kid, you know? Like, maybe it's not so much that you need to protect your ego or anything like that, but more so just that you need to protect the inner child within you, because that's where all the light comes from. Kind of like on that new Tyler, the Creator album, I love the first, or it's on the first and the last song, where it's like, the light comes from within, the light is within you. I love that so much. I think it's great, and I think it's very true. And I love in the outro song how he starts chanting, the light, it comes from within. I think that's very true, and maybe that light is just like what you have when you're a kid, you know? Like, when you're a kid, we give kids so much credit, right? Like, they're in tune with so much, we think, and it's like, why do we let that go? You know, why do we have people stop being kids if we think they're so great? To make money? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a better way we could do all this if we're trying to protect that, you know? And this is to say that I think the big lesson I've learned, and the reason that quote from Virgil Abloh stuck with me so much, is because I wasn't doing a good enough job protecting that younger part within me. I still don't know if I should make and do everything for the younger version of myself. Definitely not the 17-year-old version of myself. That makes no sense to me. You know, Virgil Abloh seemed to be doing great at 17 or something like that. So, you know, that's one thing. Not for me, though. And, you know, maybe we all just need to protect that kid within us a little bit more, because they might be able to get us to the better place than we think, you know? So, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about here today. Hopefully, this wasn't too hectic of a paint and talk. I think it might have been a little bit of a rough watch because of the fact that paint got everywhere, the brushes fell, and the window is open. So hopefully this was somewhat watchable. It's something I've been wanting to talk about for a minute now. So, this is the painting. Go check it out over on the Instagram. It is about protecting your inner child, a little glow coming from the orb amidst the forces around it kind of thing. And go check it out, HD, so you can see all the brush strokes, see the texture a little bit better on it. And until tomorrow, guys, gals, and pals, this has been Paint and Talk episode 62. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all. Oh, I forgot to say my name is Max Dice. You know that. You know that.